Good morning. It's our last of 12 weeks in the spring session, and our themes have all come from the Yoga Sutras over the last 12 weeks. And as we come to the last week, I've been sort of over the last few days just going over in my mind what is most important, because there's so much more in the Yoga Sutras that I would love to share with you, but I can't cram it all in in 1 week. So what I came up with in terms of what I really want to share with you this week is the concept of what is called kleshas in Sanskrit. And kleshas are things that kind of stand in our way or create suffering. And the Yoga Sutras says there are 5 of these things that create suffering. And they're very similar if you've studied anything about Buddhism, very similar ideas, and a lot of the philosophy is very much the same. But the very first thing, and it colors everything. Everything comes back to this one thing and feeds into everything else. And that is the idea of what is translated as ignorance. But basically, it's not seeing things as they are, not seeing reality as it is. Things that change, we want not to change. Things that aren't changing, we want to change. And we have a hard time really accepting things as they are. So that's the main one, is that this ignorance of not seeing things, like being out of touch with reality. And then we talked about clinging and aversion earlier in the series, and those are also 2. So we cling to things we know deep down that we can't have, or we try to push things away that we know are inevitable, and that creates a lot of suffering for us. So clinging and aversion, our ego gets in the way. We think that we suck, or we think we're amazing, and we've got this unreal version of ourselves that we project into the world with ego. So we're not seeing ourselves clearly. And then the 5th one that creates suffering for us is fear. And it's said in the sutras that fear is the only one that we really don't have any real control over, because it's inborn in us. We can certainly control the things that we fear that that get in our way, that aren't legitimate fears. But when it boils right down, we're all afraid of the same thing. We're all afraid of no longer existing, right? And this is an inevitability, and the more we kind of push that away, the more we create suffering for ourselves. So it all really boils down to this one thing. It's called avidya in Sanskrit, and it's really that we don't see things as they are. So today, as we practice, I'm going to really invite you into presence, into really being with what is, noticing what's going on for you. And if things are challenging for you in the class, can you accept that that is okay, that that's just the way it is, that that is reality today? It's an easy class, so that may not come up for you, but to really stay present with what does come up for you as you practice today. So we're going to start seated. You can sit on the floor or on a chair, and I've got my chair behind me, so I will meet you there. And my dog is flat out here in front of me, just almost off the screen. I think you might be able to see her paws. But she is absolutely the picture of presence, right? And animals are like that. So animals don't get, domesticated animals a little bit different, but wild animals don't get traumatized the way that we do. They don't have these expectations or ideas of how life should be the way we do. So they just accept and roll with it. And when they experience things that we would find traumatic, like being chased by another animal, they work it through. They work it through their nervous systems and come back to a place of equilibrium. And ideally, that's where we can get to through our practice as well, is really coming into presence. So let's start with that idea of just checking in with where we're at right now. So if you like, you can close your eyes. And take a moment, bring your attention right to your belly, to your guts. And for me, this is where I often feel a churning or a stress. Just notice what's present. And when I'm relaxed, my belly tends to be soft. It moves with the breath. And there's an ease there. So just notice when you check in with your abdomen, with your guts, What are you aware of today? And generally, when we notice that we're feeling stressed, whether it's through our thoughts or our physical bodies, what's happening is there's some area in our lives where there's what's called cognitive dissonance, right? We want something to be a certain way, but reality is different from that. So there's a dissonance in our mind. So just notice what's going on in your body. What are you aware of? And perhaps you feel sensations, other areas in your body that you might be aware of, perhaps around the heart or anywhere else that you may be noticing. And then switch gears to notice your mind. So as you've tuned into your body a little bit, is there something corresponding in your mind? Maybe the mind is just really busy paying attention, or maybe you're trying to analyze what you're noticing. Maybe you're trying to discount or disqualify what you're noticing. So be aware of the stories that rise in your mind as you pay attention to what's happening in your body. And as we go through the class today, I'll invite you to continue to check back in with your body, check back in with your mind. And the idea is that we're looking to find some coherence here, that the sensations in the body match the thoughts and the feelings that we have in our minds. And where there's dissonance, it's really about noticing, seeing that. So let's work with a little bit of movement now. So if you're, whether you're sitting on the floor or a chair, you can do the same thing. Bring your hands to your knees, and we'll find a little lift in the heart as we come into a back bend, breathing in, exhaling and rounding the back, letting the head come down. I'll give you some space quietly to continue with this movement. And I invite you to really check in and notice what you feel without judgment. Great. And then coming back to a neutral spine. And pause for a moment, check in around the belly or the heart or anywhere where you were able to notice sensations earlier. And see if anything has shifted with that little bit of movement. The answer may be yes or no. It's fine either way. And let's take the arms out to the sides, turning the palms forward or towards the ceiling if that's okay with your shoulders and wrists. Taking a breath in, raising the arms slowly up, bringing the palms together, bringing the hands down through the center of the body and then out to the sides again. Inhale, lift. Exhale, drawing the hands down. If it feels comfortable for you, you might add a little bit of a pause at the end of your inhale. Inhale and feel the fullness of the breath. Exhale, soften as you let the breath go. Again. And we'll make this the last one, whichever one you're on. And when you end up here with the hands at the heart, stay there and put just a little bit of pressure into your hands. Tune in and notice where you feel sensation. I feel a little stretch in the wrists into the forearms. It may be different for you. Notice if you're holding tension in your jaw, your face, or your neck, and bring softness where you can. Right. And then let the palms of the hands come to face the floor with the index fingers side by side, and turn the backs of the hands towards each other. Start to roll the fingertips towards you, and you'll end up with the palms facing up in front of you. And we'll just reverse back to where we started. So palms down, backs of the hands in, around, and coming to Anjali Mudra. Down, in, around, and pause. Good. One more time. Good. And pause here for a moment with the palms outstretched in front, hands open. Just take a moment to feel the spaciousness, the openness. With empty hands, being open to what is, to not coming to a situation with your mind full of answers, but coming at life with an emptiness, with an openness, with a willingness to learn, to be guided, to be shown, and to see things as they truly are, not as we wish they could be in any way. And then we'll take that energy of not knowing, of being in reality, not forcing a conclusion, and we'll bring that back to the heart. So you bring the hands in, backs of the hands together, rolling the hands around, and the palms will come together. And we'll bring that back to the heart. And pause here. And then to really bring a little more energy even to this concept of living in the moment, not creating unrealistic expectations or fantasies. And to take that and send it out around us. Breathing in now, lifting that energy of not knowing, of not being certain, and letting it be part of our experience. It's okay to not know. It's okay to sit in that place. It's uncomfortable for sure, of not knowing and allowing life to unfold. It's going to anyway. Right? The sutra says, do your best work, but you have to let go of the result because we cannot control everything. Unfortunate that as that may be some days. One more here. You're going to add a forward bend. So you can just bring your hands to your legs, whether you're on the floor or in a chair, maybe elbows to thighs, or if you're on the ground, hands to the ground or chest to the thighs. So finding a forward bend that feels good to you and taking a few breaths there. Whenever your mind wanders and we may be holding a pose, it's a really lovely time to come back to the breath. Just this idea of simply being. We don't have to create every single moment. We can allow things to open, allow things to be. When you're ready, we'll come up with a breath in, reaching the arms up overhead, as if we could gather all of those good vibes and bring them back to the heart. And taking your hands onto your thighs again. If you're sitting on a chair, you may want to bring your feet a little bit wider for stability. And then from here, moving in a circle with the torso. Notice what's present. So as I do this, I can feel some tightness around my hips and waist. And I'm just getting curious about that. And then as you switch directions, see if anything changes for you. So again, it's about observing and being with ourselves, not trying to create a certain outcome that we can't control anyway. Great. Let's come back to the center. And from here, take one hand to the floor or to the chair, and we're going to use that for a little bit of stability. Again, feet at least hip distance apart. It could be even a little wider for stability. And taking the other arm straight up. Anchor down through both sit bones. This is especially important if you're on a chair so you don't tip over. And reach up through the hand that's up in the air. Big breath in. As you exhale, you can use the hand on the chair or the ground to support you as you go any amount to the side, coming up to the center. Recheck that you're established and well anchored in your sit bones. Exhale, lift as you reach. Inhale, come to center. Exhale, lengthening as you go to the side. Good, once more. This time, if you like, you can stay. If it feels like too much, keep moving dynamically or come back towards center a little bit. If you're on the floor and you want to reach the hand out and create a little more side bend, feel free. And then take a few breaths where you feel the breath reaching from the hip to the fingertips on that lengthened side. Coming up to the center. Just pause for a moment. You can let your hands rest on your thighs. And maybe notice, what are you aware of from one side of the body to the other side now? Do you feel a difference? Again, it's really just about being present and noticing, giving our minds something to connect with. And then we'll go to the other side. So hand to the ground or the chair. You're going to reach up with the other arm. Anchor through both sit bones as you lift up through the rib cage. Breathing in from the center, exhale as you reach to the side. If your arm is, wherever your arm is, in fact, you want to bend the elbow as you go to the side so you're not crunching up into the shoulder. You're inhaling center, exhaling to the side. You can always just breathe normally if that is a better pace or feels more comfortable for you. And again, if it feels right for you, you might hold for a few breaths. And this instruction, if it feels comfortable, is a really important one when we're really tuning into what reality is. So sometimes we think, I want to do this. It doesn't feel comfortable, but I should be able. Right? So maybe your body says, I need to come back to center to be comfortable. Right? So listen to that. And as you're ready, we're going to lift right up to the center, releasing the arm. Bring your hands back onto your thighs, and we'll do a little cat-cow movement again to rebalance after the side bend. So you're exhaling as you round, inhaling as you arch. And again, we'll take a few moments together to do this and really tune into what you feel and what you notice. It's very simple tuning in, not always so easy when our minds are distracted. Right, and then let's come back to a seated position. We'll take the arms and lift them out to the sides, palms turn up toward the ceiling. Try to let your shoulders relax down. So when the arms come up, the shoulders tend to want to hunch. Spread your hands wide and reach your fingertips away from your heart. Check in with the back of your neck. Make sure you're not holding tension there. You might feel some stretch up in your arms. If it feels like too much, bend your elbows a little and lower the arms. And then start to do some circles with your wrists. Again, lowering the arms if it's uncomfortable for your shoulders. Circle one way, then the other. Right, and then point the fingertips up to, I was going to say toward the ceiling, but you might be outside, upwards, and press gently out. And then we're going to curl the fingers, make fists, and turn the fists down as we bend the elbows and bring the wrists towards the shoulders. So from here, you're going to press out with your palms, and then make fists, turn them down, bring them in towards the shoulders, and press out. And if you're sitting on the floor and your legs are falling asleep, just go ahead and stretch them out anytime. Hopefully you've already done that if you needed to. Okay. And last one. And give the arms a shake. And shake them up. Shake them to the sides. Shake them down. Shake your shoulders. Okay, and then turn the palms up. Let them come to rest on your thighs. And take a moment again to notice what's happening in your shoulders, arms, and hands now. What are you aware of? When you're ready, we're going to make our way to stand. And you can, if you've got a chair, you can move it to one side. You may choose to use it again in a bit. So from here, you can take the feet a little bit apart again. Take the hands onto the hips, soften your knees, and let's send the hips one way and then forward, other way, and back. So we're making a circle. You can make that circle a little more smooth, or you can pause to the side, to the back, to the side, forward. So you might try it both ways and just notice. Maybe go the other direction as well. So today we're really all about noticing and being with what is without the need to change things. So, sometimes when I'm doing a practice and I might feel something in my body that's uncomfortable, and then I can hyper focus on that one part and just try to fix it. And sometimes that helps, sometimes it doesn't, but it always gives me this feeling of being a little bit obsessive. And it's so much nicer when I can just really be with myself, be with what is, and focus in on the sensations I'm having rather than what I want to experience, what I'm clinging to and trying to create. Okay, that's not to say that we shouldn't work on our own healing, of course, but not being obsessive. Taking a breath in, reaching up with the legs still a little wider. Great. And then bending the knees, soften as you come forward, sweeping the hands toward the ground, or you can support on your legs if you like, and then coming up, breathing in. Exhale and reaching forward. Let your head go. This is also lovely to do to a chair if you want to limit the amount that you're coming forward. Right, and then we'll come back upright and stay upright. I'm just going to move my screen a little. Right. So bringing the feet together a little bit so they're right underneath the hips. You feel that there's a really solid line from your heels to your hips, and that your hips rest over your heels, and you feel balanced over your feet. So when we tend to bring the weight to the front of the feet, to the balls of the feet, we tend to collapse the lower back and sort of let the stomach relax, the chest falls in. As we bring the weight back onto the heels, there tends to be a nice alignment, shoulders over hips, hips over heels, head over shoulders. So see if you can imagine that line, if you were to draw a line from your ear through your shoulder, through your hip to your heel. And then see if you can feel a sense of lengthening along that line. If you imagine your body sort of split somewhere around just below the navel, lower body going down, upper body lifting up. And let's tune into the breath for a moment here. So with the exhale, feel as though your lower body gets really grounded. You can close your eyes if you like, but it's not required. As you inhale, a sense of lengthening up through the crown of the head. Keep that sense of lengthening as you exhale and sink down. Keep that sense of grounding as you inhale and lift. So there's this beautiful balance, like the yin yang, Right? As we exhale, we're keeping a little bit of the lift as we go down into the earth. And as we inhale, we're keeping a little bit of the grounding as we lift and lengthen. So take a few more breaths with that awareness. The exhale takes you down, but you're not losing the length. Inhale lifts you, but you're not losing the grounding. Wonderful. So let's give everything a little shake, just let that go. So again, with the feet in Tadasana or mountain pose, side by side under the hips, we'll take one arm and extend it up. So from here, you want to think about the heel on that side really digging down. You can even slightly unweight the other foot. You're not lifting it off the ground, but really feeling a sense that that one side is anchored down and the same arm reaching up. And then if you could split yourself in the middle, imagine that same inhale lifts while keeping the grounding, exhale, grounding while keeping the lift. The other side relaxed. Great. And then let's release that arm. Let the weight even between 2 feet. You can give a little shake if you like. And then we'll do the other side. So inhaling, lifting. And again, we want it same side. We're reaching down into the heel, reaching up through the fingertips. The other side, relax. So the arms relax, the legs relax. You can even soften the knee a little bit if you like to take some of the weight off that side. But you don't want to throw the hip out. So finding that engagement, dropping down into the earth, lifting up through the torso, and releasing. Okay, let's lift both arms. Come right up onto the balls of your feet. Breathing in. Exhale, releasing the heels down. You can bring the palms to face up on the lower back. Bend your knees, let your body come forward over your legs. We'll inhale and lift. As you come upright, if you feel comfortable here, you can lift up onto your toes. And then as you exhale, heels come down, knees bend. You're coming into the forward bend, arms behind you. Do a couple more at your own pace. And again, if you lose your balance or feel frustrated with any of these moves, let that be your practice today. This is what is. Can we simply be with what is without the fight that we often put up against things that we can't change? Great, make this the last one. And as you come forward, if you like, you can bring your hands instead of behind you, you can bring them to the thighs, hands or elbows, or reach toward the ground or hold your elbows. Make sure your knees are soft and your neck is relaxed. Bringing the elbows up to the thighs might be a better option if you feel any pressure in the head or if you have high blood pressure. And then coming all the way up with a breath in. Let's bring the palms together overhead. And again, bring the hands back to the heart. As if we could bring that reality right into focus in our hearts. Stop wishing things were different when we have no control. And when we can control, we do our best work, but we still can't control the results. I'm going to take the feet wide and take the arms wide now. If you find this easier to come to a chair for the twist, you can face your chair and you'll twist to bring your hands to opposite side of the chair, or you can bring your hands to opposite legs. So the last one we were imagining splitting the body in the middle and working one side at a time. And this one we're integrating the left and right brain by crossing over the body in a twist. So from here, arms to the sides, breathing in. As you exhale, you're going to turn to the side and reach down wherever is comfortable for you. The arm behind you can stay up or come to your lower back. And then you'll come up to the center, breathing in, exhale, twisting the other way. And it's not about twisting as far as you can, but really finding a nice fluidity and ease in your body with your movement as much as possible. So let that be your practice for the next few rounds. Can I find the way of doing this pose that feels full of ease, that accepts the limits and boundaries that my body is communicating to me today? Right, and then you'll come back to the center, and let's come all the way up with the arms and sweep all the way down, big circle reaching toward the ground. And again, if you want to add that little bit of a pause after the inhale, a little more energy, feel free. If that feels uncomfortable for any reason, just skip that. Next time you come upright, we'll stay upright and let the arms come down to the sides. And stepping the feet side by side again. So come into a balance pose now, a tree pose. Some of you, I think probably all of you are familiar with this pose. You can use your chair or a wall to hold on to if you like. And you can also keep both feet on the ground if that's more comfortable. So this is really an exercise in tuning into what your reality is, right? So for you to balance comfortably, what do you need to do? And can you be okay with whatever that is? So we're going to shift the weight to one foot just as we did in the exercise a moment ago without pushing the hip out to the side. So just a little shift, so just a little less weight on the other foot. And just check in how that feels. Do you feel balanced here? Do you feel solidly, comfortably balanced on your mat or on the ground? And if so, lift the heel of the foot that's not holding your weight. And again, check in. Do you now start to feel a little wobbly? Maybe this is as far as you need to go today. If you feel good here and you want to go to the next step, you're going to take that foot that you've lifted onto the toes, you're going to turn the knee out to the side away from the other leg. And again, check in. Is this good for me? If so, if you still feel balanced, you can take that foot and move it in closer. And now suddenly things get a little wobblier. You might even come right to the tops of your toes if that's comfortable for you. Make it a little bit more challenging. And then again, checking in if it feels good for you, raising the foot onto the calf or maybe even onto the thigh. And if you get there and you're really wobbly and you're just falling out all the time, then that's not the pose for you today. You're going to come back to something that feels sustainable. Losing your balance is not a failure, by the way. But if you're just doing this the whole time, you're not really getting the benefit of the pose. So you find a place that you can mostly be in. If your toe touches down from time to time, that's totally fine. Hands can come to the heart, and I realize you've been on this side for quite some time. So if you need to come out of the pose, do at any time. You can also raise the arms up. And then as you're ready to come out, you'll lower the arms and bring the foot down. Take the leg you're standing on, give it a good shake, just making sure you're not bringing tension there. And then we'll work on the other side. So you're going to shift your weight first to the opposite foot. You can come onto the toes of the other foot. Just again, you're making sure you're not throwing the hip out. Think about lots of length. And then you can try rotating the leg to the side, check in there. Each stage, you're going to check in. Is this sustainable? Does this feel comfortable? Maybe bringing the foot closer or lifting or bringing it right up into the thigh if that's available to you. And then again, hands can come to the heart, can come overhead. You're breathing here. And again, if you lose your balance, that's totally fine. Just come back into the pose. And if you're struggling to even find balance, you may want to go back to a more simple version of this pose. And when you're ready, you'll release the arms, release the leg, come back to mountain pose. And again, you can just give everything a little shake and release. Let's do a couple forward bends again, just to balance and give the hips a bit of release after tree pose. Coming up with a breath in, exhaling, reaching forward, letting the head release, and inhaling to come up, exhaling to come forward. A couple more like that. And next time you come upright, you can release and lower your arms to the sides. And so I'm going to work a little bit with the legs again. So you can take 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, and feet on train tracks. They're both facing forward. And bend both your knees so you feel a little bit of stretch in the back ankle. You can have your hands down or on your hips, whatever's comfortable. And then you can reach forward for your front thigh just above the knee and take the back foot and step it back a little further and start to press the heel toward the ground with a straight back leg now. So looking for a little more stretch in the calf. And then stepping onto your front foot, you can bring the toes of your back foot, the tops of your toes toward the ground, toenails down. Be very gentle with this one. For some people, pointing the toes this way creates foot cramps. So just again, be really gentle. And then we're going to take the toe pads down again and press the heel forward to stretch the arch of the foot. And that can sometimes be a helpful fix if your foot does cramp when the toenails are down. Good. And then other side. So small step. First, both feet on train tracks, bending both knees a little to mostly stretch the back ankle area. And then you can reach your hands for your front knee and step a little further back until you feel that the heel almost touches the ground and you feel some stretch in the calf. So if your heel comes down and you don't feel any stretch in the calf, you can try bending the front knee a little more or stepping back a little further. And then you'll step onto your front foot, top of the foot down, very gentle, almost like you're just letting the weight of your leg create the bit of stretch here. And then again, turning the toes down, pressing the heel forward to stretch the arch. Right, and then bringing that foot down, we're going to take the foot that was back originally, the first foot that was back, and this time stepping back and turning the foot out to the side a little, keeping the hips pointing forward. And if you have a chair here, you could use it, but it's not necessary. So coming up in Warrior One, so the arms raise up. I'm going to press into the back heel. Front knee is more or less lined up with your front ankle. Find a little lift in the heart, breathing in. And then as you exhale, you can bring the hands forward. This could be to your thigh or to your chair. You'd find a little more straightness in the front leg if that's possible for you. And then we'll come all the way up again. So we're going to breathe in as we come up. Breathe out as we come forward. Try to keep the spine nice and long. So even if you're bringing the hands to the thigh, we keep a little lift in the chest. And then if the hands are on the thigh, you want to make sure you're not pressing back and hyperextending, locking your knee. Right, let's come to this forward position and stay a few breaths. So again, it could be hands on the thigh, working the leg a little towards straighter, or hands on your chair, and spine nice and long. So we're not rounding and coming forward as far as we possibly can, but looking for that stretch in the front leg. If it feels tight, bend and straighten the front leg a few times. And again, you can do this using a chair or just hands on the leg. Okay, let's step forward. You can lift all the way up. Exhale, release the arms down. Maybe take a moment to notice how one side feels compared with the other. And then we'll step back with the other foot, turning the foot out to the side. You can bend the front knee so the knee is over the ankle, reaching up with the breath in. Your forward bend, hands to the thigh or to your chair, moving the leg a little straighter as you go. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, forward. Couple more at your own pace. And as we've been working on today, really tuning into what is, not forcing, pushing the body, or even wishing things were different. When you come forward again, you could stay for a few breaths. So again, it could be moving the leg a little more bent, a little more straight, keeping it in a straighter position, keeping it in a more bent position, according to what is right for you. Not according to what you want or what you think should happen. Okay, so wherever you are, you can step forward. Inhale, lift all the way up. Good, and then we'll come into a straight forward bend with legs side by side. So again, it could be coming to the chair if you've got one handy and that's good for you, or hands to the thighs or reaching further down. Feel free to stay for a few breaths, and when you're staying, you could add a little more forward bend now, letting the head down, elbows on the thighs or arms reaching down or to the chair as you like. And when you're ready, we'll come all the way up, breathing in and exhaling to release. We're going to make our way to the floor now. So if you've got a chair there, you might want to get that out of the way. And bring this down. All right, I think we're good. Yeah, it just said my microphone was muted for some reason. So I'm going to come to lie down on your mat. And you can have your knees bent, feet on the floor. Bring your hands onto your body somewhere where you can feel your breath. So that could be maybe on your rib cage or belly or on your chest, wherever is comfortable for you. My recommendation is to have your hands somewhere where your elbows can be on the ground. So if your elbows are off the ground, you have to work a little harder to hold there. So just wherever you can reach is perfectly fine. So you're really just looking to feel a little bit of movement with your breath. Nothing too energetic right here. So you're just going to feel the movement of your breath. And as you exhale, find a little softening. So all of our stress, all of our tension boils down to one thing, and that is that we want things to be other than they are. We don't accept reality as it is, and it creates a lot of dissonance and tension. So as we come to focus on the breath for a moment, letting everything else move into the background, the breath just is. Can we be with the breath as it is, letting all else move into the background now? Use all of your senses to feel your breath. Feel it under your hands. You might hear the sound of your breath. Feel the temperature as it comes and goes from your body. Get really curious. Is there any smells that you're aware of? We'll take a few more breaths here. Keep bringing your attention back to the breath whenever it wanders. Simply being with the breath as it is. And then we'll take the knees, bring them in toward the chest. You can bring one hand to each knee and draw the knees toward you and away from you. So it's a very small movement. Knees move it as far away as your arms can straighten, and then come in as close as your body comfortably allows. Coordinating your breath, you'd inhale as you move the knees away. You're making space for the breath, and exhale as you draw them in. Continue like that for a few more breaths. And then let's bring one foot to the floor, reach the other leg toward the ceiling. You can hold on if you like behind the leg, or just let your hands relax as you circle the ankle around. Go one way and then the other. And then relax your whole leg and give it a shake. Let your ankle be floppy. See if you could shake any tension away. And then bring that knee in toward your chest. You can take that ankle, bring it across the opposite knee, and take your hand to the thigh and gently press away. If you want more stretch here, you'll bring the legs closer to the body, and you can do that literally by just lifting the heel of the foot on the floor, or lifting the whole foot either onto a book or a block, or reaching the hands behind that leg. Or if you can't quite reach, you can grab a hold of your if you've got yoga pants or whatever you're wearing. I can't assume anything that you're wearing anything as you're on the other side of the screen, but if you are, you can use your clothes as a prop. Right, from here, we're going to release, uncross the legs, bring the knees and the ankles together, and take a few breaths like a butterfly, opening the wings on the inhale, closing on an exhale. Go at your own pace. And then when you come back to the center, the foot that was on the floor before, we're going to bring that one in to the chest. Again, you can reach behind the thigh if you like, or let the hands rest on the floor of your body as you lift the leg and circle the ankle around. Circling one way and then the other. Good. And again, relax your ankle, relax your leg, give it a shake. And then back into the chest. You can place the ankle above the opposite thigh, gently press away with that thigh, with the leg that's up. And again, you can stay here if you want more, lifting either onto the toes or a book or a block or cushion, or you can reach behind to hold the thigh. And you'll take a few more breaths here. Okay, and we'll release the foot, bringing the feet side by side again, knees together. And again, a few more of those butterfly breaths, inhaling as you open, exhaling as you bring the knees together. And then as you bring the knees together once more, you can bring them into the chest and either repeat that forward and back movement if that felt good to you, or you can add the extended version, arms and legs reaching out either up or out to the sides and then back into the chest. If there's other movement that would feel good to you, if you want to stretch out or move in any other way, just take a moment to release whatever needs to move before you come to stillness for Shavasana. So take your time. If you want to stretch, move, wiggle, shake, whatever feels good. And then you can come to stillness lying down. Or if you prefer, you can do your Shavasana instead as a seated meditation. So up to you. So make whatever adjustments you need to. Be as comfortable as you can. And then sometimes we have to accept that that's just as comfortable as we can get. Right? Something may not feel quite perfect, but at some point we have to commit. Right? Commit to that sense of dropping in, finding ease, and coming to stillness. And then once you find that place that you can commit to, that you're comfortable enough to relax in, let your body settle. Feel the sense of melting down a little into the earth. Let your belly soften. Allow the breath to move with as much ease as possible. When we can truly accept what is, when we can open ourselves to the reality rather than deluding ourselves with what we want or wish we could control, this begins to end this cycle of suffering. Sometimes we say things like, "It is what it is." And this is exactly the lesson. Right? Whatever is, just is. It's not there to make us miserable or to make us feel better. It just is. And our work is to do the inner work that allows us to be with as much ease with what is as possible. To accept the things that we cannot change. To accept reality as it is. So breathing in, I accept. Breathing out, I let go. And if those words feel right to you, you might repeat them. Breathing in, I accept. Breathing out, I let go. Or you could choose any other words that have that same kind of idea. Breathing in, I accept. Breathing out, I let go. You can continue to repeat those words as you breathe, if that feels right for you, as you continue to relax your body, letting go, dropping down. Soften your jaw, your neck, your face. Relax your shoulders, arms, and hands. Soften around your rib cage. Let the breath just move you. There's no need to force or control the breath. Check in with your belly again where we started today. Notice what's present. Any sensations, thoughts, or emotions, simply notice. Soften and feel the weight around your pelvis dropping into the earth. And allow your thighs, knees, calves, ankles, and feet to let go. Whatever is present for you right now, thoughts, sensations, awareness, whatever is there for you, can you make yourself big enough to accept and receive it all? Breathe it in. Be with what is, whether that's pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. It seems maybe challenging at first to accept things that feel uncomfortable or challenging. But this is truly the path to reduce our suffering. Fighting against what is only creates more tension, more stress, more anxiety. So let's take a few more breaths here together. Softening where we feel tension. I think at the end of the day, all of us want the same thing, which is to feel a sense of wholeness and a sense of peace and ease. We often think getting our own way will take us there, but that's just generally not the case. So it's this acceptance of what is that really takes us to that place of wholeness and ease. And I'll share with you a chant that expresses that desire for wholeness and peace. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So you can let your breath deepen a little bit now. Inviting a bit more energy, maybe adding movement. If you still want to take time to rest, if it didn't feel like enough for you, absolutely stay where you are. Enjoy a little more time to integrate the practice. And if you feel ready to move, you can start to wiggle your fingers and toes and stretch and move your body any way that would feel good. And if you've been lying down, you can roll to one side to come back to seated. Again, if you want to stay where you are, that's fine too. So, as always, I invite you to take this theme with you into your day, into your week off the mat, and really notice when you feel yourself tense up. Notice if you're tensing up around something that you really have no control over. And the first stage is just to breathe and soften. When you notice that tension, simply breathe and soften. Trying to force and push it away just creates more tension, right? So it's all part of the same theme. Can we soften? When we feel ourselves harden and clamp down, can we find more ease, more softness? So that's your homework for this week, for this class. And I wish you a beautiful day, a lovely week. Namaste.